I am very excited for this interview. Very excited and scared at the same time. Uh, because my guest is actually a very good friend of mine. I remember my first introduction as I was a baby little author, and I went into my first event and signing, and I met this beautiful lady. And for better or for worse, we have become friends over the years since. And she's somebody I rely on very, very much, maybe too much. She may say too much, but she doesn't know. But I absolutely love her. So the one and only Margaret McHeyzer. How are you today?
Good, very good. Thank you. How are you today, Miss Kaya?
I'm very good. I'm so nervous about this interview because I talk to you most days, and usually it ends up in a lecture. So this time
Yes,
I'm
it
asking
does.
the questions. So this will be a bit different.
So perhaps I should be petrified.
You should. Well, first of all, I just want to know, what is it like for you living in Sydney, in Australia? What's it like?
I love it. I love it. So Sydney itself is just such an eclectic morsel of a crucible, I suppose. You know, there's just so many people and so many different nationalities and religions and genders, everything. It's I just love it. I love being able to walk out my front door and know that I'm safe, but also know that we're such an accepting country overall. We're such an accepting country. I just love it. Love it.
Tell me about the start of your journey. Where did it begin for you? What made you decide, I want to write a book? This is the book I'm going to write. And what made you decide to publish? How did you find the process?
So a few years back, it was probably 2011. Around then, I started reading, and I was reading quite a lot. And it got to the point that I was hungry. It just wanted more and more and more. But I found that the more I read, the more stories bled into one another, unfortunately. But I was reading a lot of fanfic, and I was just a reader. I had no idea about putting a word on paper. I didn't know anything about it whatsoever. And I started thinking one day, wow, wouldn't it be great if we had a role reversal of a really strong female and a not such a strong male? And I sat down and I came up with this. Actually, I was chopping my vegetables. I remember this. I was making dinner and I was chopping my vegetables, and I came up with this storyline of an assassin and a police officer. And I thought, oh, wouldn't it be cool if she was like the police officer and he was the assassin? I'm like, nah, that's been done. Let's go her being the assassin and him being the police officer. And I sat down and I wrote my first book in like 2.5, 3 weeks, I think it was. But now let me back up there and say what I knew then to what I know now is completely different. And what I knew then was zero to what I know now, which is a little bit more than zero, but it's not written well. And I decided to publish it because I just loved it. I loved the story. And it was just so different from what I knew there was out there. And I'd read hundreds and possibly thousands of books, and I hadn't read anything like this. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a go. And it was only ever going to be one book, and that was it, because I just loved the idea of this heroine she's kick-ass. And I still love her. I absolutely adore her. And I actually have a tattoo of her on me because she started my journey of writing. But the writing itself is not good. I'm being honest, it's not good whatsoever. But the story is fresh and different and exciting. And the research I had to do, I honestly, I said to my husband one night, I said, do you reckon ASIO's got me like on their list? He goes, what are you looking up? I'm like, how to make bombs and the types of weapons and distances, you know, from one place to another. And he's like, yeah, I think you do. Thankfully, nothing has happened because I am just an author, if anybody's listening out there. But I just thought, you know what? Why not? Why not just give it a go? I made a lot of mistakes. I was quite arrogant, not in a way that, just in a way that I thought my book was awesome and it didn't need anything else. And as I have continued in my journey, I find, I'm very level-headed. I'm very down to earth. I can be easily approached. If somebody says to me, there's plot holes or whatever, I'm not going to throw a hissy fit whatsoever. But then, very different. It was, I just thought the book was the bee's knees and everybody was going to love it. People do love it, but they don't like the writing, and I understand that.
So it's so interesting actually hearing how you started, because obviously I didn't know you right at the start. I think I only met you in 2014, but it's been rather nice. You're one of the few authors who I've seen very closely the growth over the years and how you've gone in different directions and some of those things that you have learnt along the way, because we're always learning. And one thing that I find fascinating is your genre choices, because you started off writing about an assassin and then you started doing motorcycle romance. And then you started going into this new genre, a very niche genre, I want to say, with topics that are very vulnerable. So you're talking about, you've got Dying Wish, which is about a cancer patient and also a romance. You have drug addictions, drug abuse, and a lot of these.
A lot about mental health, a lot. I'm quite, I'm not an advocate for mental health, but I very much believe that there's always a point in our lives, regardless of our age and regardless of our upbringing and regardless of the support that we have, there is always one point in our life where we cannot manage, we cannot cope with what life gives us. And it's at that point that we have to stand up and be a badass and say, I need help. Because just by admitting that we need mental health help, and it doesn't have to be for prolonged periods, it could be for a short period of time, it could be a year, a month, 2 years, whatever it is, at one stage through our lives. And it will be one point, it may be more, but at one point, regardless of what we've had to deal with leading up to that point, we have to say, we need help. And my books, I've always wanted to take that stigma away, and we still have that stigma, unfortunately, but I'm hoping that the books that I have written can bridge that gap between, should I ask for help? Who do I talk to for help? It's just so that they've got that confidence, that magnificent confidence to be able to stand up and say, you know what, I'm not okay. And it's all right that I'm not okay. I just now need some help.
The thing that I love about your book, so obviously I have read some of your books, but
just a couple.
Just a couple. And also I have had friends that have read your books, because obviously I couldn't recommend you highly enough, because not only is your writing it's awesome.
And I'm also awesome.
And you're also default, and you're also awesome. But your writing is beautiful, but the thing that really pulls you in is the amount of relevance it has because of the amount of research you do. So I have a particular friend who was in a domestic relationship herself, and she resonated so much with your book, and she was like, oh my goodness, Margaret understands it, like as if she's been in that. And you've never been in these particular situations, but you have such an in-depth understanding. And I know how you research, but I would like to talk a little bit about that, because I've also seen the amount that it kind of weighs on you to do that research mentally. Like, it's very exhausting to read and understand that material. Would you like to tell us a bit about how you research for your books?
Yeah, so I do a lot of, obviously I spend a lot of time on my computer. That's pretty obvious. Depending on what the subject is, most of the books, like I said before earlier, have got a lot to do with mental health. However, there's always a trigger for them to get to there in my particular books. And the ones that I have don't always start with bad childhood memories or anything like that. A lot of the books that I write these things can happen to anybody. Now, the research that I do, I'd say the heavier books that I write, I can spend 6 to 8 months writing these books. And 6 to 8 months, though, is not just writing. I might spend in one day, I might spend 4 hours researching and doing 1 hour of writing. I might spend 7 hours of researching and doing 10 minutes of writing, or I might spend 3 hours writing and doing no research. However, I always try to I go through every avenue I possibly can, even trying to download psychiatric books to help me understand a better way for me to present the information that I have, as opposed to the doctor said this, the doctor said that, just in order so I can so that when somebody is reading my book, they can understand it without it seeming like a lecture, because I don't want it to be a lecture. It's not about that. But every person deals with things differently, and the amount of research I do, there are many times that after I have done research, I can't sleep because of what I've read, what I've seen, what I know other people experience. And it's difficult for me to just switch that part off, which is a very big reason as to why now I've taken a step back from the really heavy books. I've written about domestic violence. I've written about date rape. I've written about cancer. I've written about eating disorders. I've written about personality disorders. I've written about drug addiction. And all of these books, if I can't find the research that I need, I then go on to forums to try to find people who have experience so they could guide me in a generalized way, because again, mental health is different for every person. My mental health concerns may not be the same for you or for somebody else. So they are very difficult and they're very draining and consuming, but I love it. And my hope is that if one person reads this book who needs it and gets help from it, then you know what? It's worth it. It's worth the 60, 70 hours worth of research per book that I do. It's definitely worth it because that one person has gotten help. Now, I know for a fact that a lot of people do email me or message me and tell me how much I have helped them. And that's, you know what, that's worth everything to me.
What I also want to mention too is that your books are targeted young adult, but obviously they are for everyone. But what's so great about them too, in the messages that you're obviously providing and the safe space for people to hear, is that you're bridging a gap between, for example, mother and daughter. And I know that you have received messages such as, "Thank you, I never understood what my daughter was going through until I read this book, and now I have a new perception on it." And I think that's powerful, which is one of the reasons why I utterly adore you and what you write, because, you know, it has a message, it has a purpose, and I absolutely adore you for it. I do want to talk about your new books because I know that you had an amazing accomplishment. You wrote 3 books in 3 months. You had challenged yourself and you smashed it, and you went into contemporary romance, which is not a genre you have done outright before. So second chance romance, I haven't yet grabbed Hope's River. It's only just come out a week ago. I'm waiting for them all to come.
Oh, and here you'll say, we're friends. We're such good friends.
But I won't support you. No, I'm kidding. I'm waiting for all the paperbacks to come out.
Oh, you won't support me either. What?
The worst, I know. Tell me about your second chance romance. As if I've never heard about them before. Tell me about them.
Oh, really? Please. So I really needed to step away from the heavy books. I really did. It was becoming too consuming for me, and I noticed in myself, it wasn't sitting. The books that I write, I love. Please don't get me. don't get me wrong, but I had to just take a step back from that. I had to do it for many reasons, but the biggest one was for my own mental health, ways. So I came up with this crazy idea about, and like I said, I really love role reversals. So I came up with this idea about this chick who flips houses. I don't know if you watch any sort of shows or anything, but you usually see it's a husband and wife, or it's a husband, or it's a group of guys. But he's the one who's usually getting his hands dirty. I'm not saying that she doesn't, but generally that's kind of what you see. And I just came up with this idea about this chick named Hope, who she can't cook to save her life. My God, she even burns water on the stove. So she sucks acid cooking. Well, maybe I should have called her Kaya.
Honestly.
She can't cook to save her life. She can order anything she loves. So she's great with ordering. She's great at going out at restaurants, and she's really headstrong, and she's stubborn, but she's in her own way. She gets in her own way. And she's a house flipper, and there's a circumstance that happens in the prologue, and she just gets in a truck and she's like, universe, help me out. So she starts driving in the middle of the night and finds this little town called Hope River. And she was like, oh, okay, this is an interesting name. And as she's passing through it, she sees this old, decrepit, Victorian-style house. It's even got ivy growing up and inside the house. And she decides to buy it just on a whim. She decides to buy it, which is not like her. She usually, is very calculated in everything she does. It's all about making money, of course. And she buys it on a whim, and her life is changed forever. So it's a second chance small town romance, and the supporting cast are just as quirky as the town. For example, the town every 6 or so weeks decides to have a festival, and the festival could be stupidest things ever, but it's so much fun. And it's an eclectic group of people who have come to Hope River for whatever reason, or have been born in Hope River and don't move on, or don't want to move on, or whatever their story is. And yeah, we go from there. So the supporting characters, we've got 2 more books, Our Chance and Healing Hearts. And they are the secondary characters of Hope River.
So one amazing accomplishment that you had made, one of many though, is that you are a USA bestseller. And what I love about this...
No, I'm not USA, I'm New York Times. Sorry. New York Times, yes, twice. Remember that, please.
What did you say? Like, I'm leaving, I quit. You are a New York Times bestseller twice, and the best thing about this is that you are an indie published author too, and there is stigma around that. It is a lot more difficult as an indie publisher because we don't have the same marketing team, we don't have the same financial push, and you hit that list twice. What was it like for you when you realized that you were on the list, and how did you celebrate?
So it's a bit of a funny story with that. I actually got an email from somebody who said, really interested in your book. You've made the New York Times. Not very many indies make it for this particular, because I made it for the young adult, children, young adult. Not very many indies make it for that particular genre of the New York Times, that classification. And I was like, what? Yeah, I actually thought it was a scam. And I was like, yeah, rightio, buddy, thanks. And he messaged me back and goes, no, I'm serious. You made the New York Times your number. It's up there. I don't remember. I think number 3. And I was, oh, buddy, it's another scam. Sure. He goes, you're number 4. And I was like, yeah, right. He goes, hang on a second. And he sends me this.
Wow.
And if you can see, it actually says number 4 on the list. It's highlighted in yellow. And I was just like, what? I don't know what's happening. So I get on the phone to my friend Jodie, JL Perry, and I said to her, check this out. She goes, what? I said, I think I made the New York Times list. And I sent it to her. She's crying, going, oh my God. I'm going, real? It is. So the rest of the day I was in a stupor. I had no idea what was going on. I was just like, huh? And I kept bringing it up, looking at it, refreshing it just in case it was still a scam. I had no idea. And my husband comes home that night and I go, make the New York Times list. He's like, huh? I'm like, I think it was a scam, but it's not. So that was the first time that I made it. And the second time I made it for a different book. I just cried. I cried with so much gratitude and so much. It was more than gratitude. It was. I just didn't think it was going to happen ever again. And since then, they've actually taken the young adult section away, so it's not going to happen again. Which I then went on to find out that only 5 independent authors have ever made the young adult list, and I made it twice. So I was just so grateful and just wow. What can you say? Just wow.
This is why I absolutely admire you too, is because you are very, I can't believe I'm going to say this. Suddenly I remembered who I'm talking to, but you are very humble.
I am very what? Sorry, can you repeat that word? I didn't hear what you said. What? Sorry, hang on. I'm going to turn it up a bit.
You are very humble.
Oh, thank you.
But you honestly, you are one of, and it's why I've loved you from the start, is you are very humble and you are very kind, and so it's really rewarding watching you succeed in these two, because you do cry and I love watching you cry. The end. No, I'm kidding. Thanks. No, I'm kidding. I'm so proud of you. I want to know what has been your it's so hard. It's the compliments are fluid. I want to know what has been your greatest challenge and your greatest accomplishment so far.
My greatest challenge is always opening a piece of paper and starting a new book. And the reason for that is it doesn't matter that I have New York Times. That doesn't matter. Challenge is always the imposter syndrome. And I'm sure that I hope one day that disappears. But, and I'm sure that doesn't matter if you're a first-time author or if you've written 100 books. I don't think that really matters. We get in our own minds and we tell ourselves we're not good enough. And when I open that first piece of paper, before I've even written the title of the next book, anything whatsoever, that niggling doubt, that those words, those 1-star reviews, those people looking down at their noses at you or making fun of you, or oh, that's a nice little habit, or oh, when I have some spare time I'm going to write. This is a business and it's my business and it's my love. But that is my biggest challenge, is the imposter syndrome. And that's something I push through every time, because every time then I think to myself, you know what? You're freaking awesome at this. You can put words on a paper. We have 26 letters in the alphabet. And in those 26 letters, I can make a sentence that will tear someone down or make them laugh until they've got tears in their eyes. And you know what? I choose to put those letters on the paper and make somebody so happy that they've read my book. So you know what? I'm freaking awesome at this. So I have to push past that imposter syndrome that in the back of my head is saying, you're not good enough, and go, screw you. Yes, I am.
What would you say your greatest accomplishment has been so far?
In my writing career or in my life?
Your writing career, both.
I think my biggest accomplishment in my life is finding that I am one of many, and I'm on this planet, and I have a gift, and I am sharing that gift. And okay, it's not as refined as a lot of other people's gifts, but we're all here for one reason, and that is to find love and happiness. And my accomplishment is that I love writing, and I'm happy to write, and I'm happy that people are happy to read me. So I think that for me it's a major thing, because it gives me self-worth. And if it gives me self-worth, then I can put something on paper that will give the reader self-worth.
So one of the interesting, valuable things about you, I'm trying to how do I give a compliment without being given a compliment? Because I'm very good at giving compliments, just not to you. No, I'm kidding. But you are you are a very well networked person, I want to say. And so one credit to you, I have to admit, is you have many a times called me out and said, Kaya, pull your finger out of your butt, basically. And so one thing I want to talk about for fellow writers and authors who are listening is the art of discipline, because obviously muse doesn't always come to us. We sometimes have things in our personal life, and as much as we love writing, we do have to make the time for it. So what are the things that you do to enforce that you're meeting deadlines? And my second question after that would be talking about how important it is to have an author networking group.
I wrote these last 3 books that I just wrote. They're all part of the series, the Hope River series. And they're 3 standalone books about 3 separate couples, but they're all linked in the one town. So I challenged myself that I wanted, again, I'll start it. Sorry, let me just backtrack here. So Hope's River, the first book, was only supposed to be a standalone. That's all I write, standalones. I don't usually write series. I have written a series, and I've written a couple of duets, but I don't usually, I like standalones. I like being the one story all put together. When I started Hope's River, I was actually speaking to one of my girlfriends, Jess Loeb, and I was telling her about Hope's River, and she goes, oh my God, you're an art. Make it into a series. Everyone loves Small Town. And I'm like, really? And she's like, yes, everyone loves Small Town. And I'm like, really? She's like, you're an idiot. Do a series. So I was like, okay, I'll do a series. But then I thought, I don't want people waiting too long for these books, right? So I thought, okay, how am I going to do this? So I sat down and I thought to myself, let's play it smart here. I don't want people waiting a year between books. I don't want that. It's unfair to them. So, oh, hello, boy. My dog just came to visit me. So if I'm going to have this book out and done, I'm going to need the other 2 books nearly done as well. So I sat down and I started doing this, if you can see. And this is the date that I'm writing and the amount of words that I'm writing. And I did it for book 2, and then I did it for book 3. And every single day I wrote. And you'll see some days here I had 900 words, other days I had 4,000 words. And that is how I challenged myself and I became disciplined in order to write these books, because I didn't want readers to feel like they had to wait a long time between books. I don't think that's fair for them, especially considering they're paying me to do this. So I challenged myself by setting myself 1 month to write 1 book, of which I did. And then I gave myself time, obviously, to read over it. And then it goes to the editor, et cetera, et cetera. So the writing process was 1 month, but it was to sit down, and you can see my little squiggly things up there because the pens would or wouldn't work. And then there's the dates and there's the numbers of how I wrote. And again, I've got days here that have written 800 words, but it's 800 words more than the day before. And if you can do 800 words per day, 800 words, 20 minutes, an hour, to an hour every single day. And if you say that you can't do an hour every single day, I'm sure that you've been on social media for an hour for that day. And it's half an hour, just half an hour. That's all that it is. We all lead busy lives, and really, the universe has thrown us for a bit of a sixer in the last 12 to 18 months, and that's going to continue. But it doesn't mean that we have to stop doing what we love to do. And I love writing. I love it. And it's also really important. I had this friend, her name's Kaya. You might know her, you might not, I don't know. But we would actually challenge each other too. We'd set 20-minute intervals, and we'd write and for as long as we could in those 20 minutes, and then at the end of it we'd see how many words we'd written, and you would always kick my ass. But the fact of the matter is, in those 20 minutes we may have only done 400 words, but they were 400 words more than we did the day before.
In regards to, as we were just saying, like, as you and I, we find accountability in each other. And you are one person I'm very grateful and blessed to have within my network. And I find that everyone, and this is the best thing about the industry, is you will find your group, your people, that just you really click with, you build an amazing relationship with, and you can bounce ideas off. You can have that accountability with. And even as we're in different periods right now where you're having a month break and I'm doing, a month trying to finish this manuscript. So I will message you at the end of the day and be like, I've written this many words, and you'll do the same likewise. And it's just that sense of accountability. And that's why I think, I want to know what your thought is on what it means to actually build a network, and why it's so important to have those author friends.
The thing that I've noticed over the years that I have been an author is that there are, just like any other industry, it can be cutthroat if you choose for it to be. That's what you go looking for, and that's what you're going to find. It can be very rewarding in that you do develop real relationships. And again, if that's what you choose to look for and that's what you go to find, that's what you will find. You need to find people who are like-minded with you, and it doesn't matter if their earnings from books are zero or $1 million a month. It does not matter where they are, as long as you are all on the same page. And we're all here and we're all here because we have these characters who just don't want to let up, and we just want to get them out on paper. Find your tribe, and it's going to be a lot of trial and error, because there are people who are here for the wrong reason, and that's fine because that's what they want to do. There are people here who only want to write one book, and again, that's fine. That's what they want to do. There are people who are here just for the money. Again, that's fine if that's what they want to do. Everything is fine. You just need to find your version of fine. And if your version of fine is somebody who you can, just message and go, I'm writing and I need somebody here to kick my ass, and they go, yep, I'm here, let's go, then they're your tribe. They're your tribe. For that, even if it's just for that particular book, they are your tribe.
What has been you're going to hate this question. I can't wait to find it.
All right. I'm sorry. Beep.
Don't hang up on me. What has been your favorite book to write, and why?
Oh, Jesus. Really?
Yes, because I am the interviewer and you are the interviewee. You have to answer it. Honestly.
Which one of your kids do you like most? Really?
I know the answer to this.
Oh, you know what? I often think about my very first book, my Assassin. I often think about her and my tattoo. So I think about her because she started my journey. So I'd have to say she's up there with my favorite. I have to say that, because if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here. And I thank her so much for everything she's done for me. Fair income. Can I just name them all? I've only got 23 books. Can I just name them all? I think 23, maybe a few more. I don't know. I don't look. What's that? Ugly. Isn't she beautiful? Her name's Lily, and Lily was my first New York Times, and she started my journey into, trauma-driven books, and I've loved every single one of them. So can I say thank you to Lily? Possibly. Is she my favorite? I don't know. But every book that I write, I go, that was my favorite. And then I write the next one, and that was my favorite. But I have to say, I think right up there is Echoes of You. And that is, I don't know. I don't know what it is about that book. There's just something about it. It's not, I don't know if it's my favorite, because I don't want all the other sisters thinking that they're, ugly, because they're not. Like, they're not ugly stepsisters, and they're not covered in ash, and they're not names. They're not ugly whatsoever. I just love it.
I love, so Echoes of You is the recent one that I read of yours, which I absolutely loved. And I know I can't really ask questions around this one because you've already put a disclaimer, because you don't want to give anything away. Yes. But I have encouraged many of people to read it and I saw you during the process of writing that as well. For whoever hasn't read it, read it and you'll understand where we're going with this, because it has a very unique element about it, especially around mental health, but it was so well done and well written, and it is a book, whether I knew you or not, that has really stuck with me. So I have to be a bit biased in this sense and say that I loved Echoes of You, so that's my add-in.
That book started because I was of course, because these characters, they just kind of go, oh hey, we're here now, start writing about me. So that book started because I was watching a current affair program one night, and it was an hour long on this one particular woman who I wish I could tell you who she was. I know who she is, but I wish I could tell you without giving away anything about the book, so I can't really say anything. But I was watching her, and as I was watching her, like, I sat there dumbfounded, and then I was hungry. I was hungry for more. I needed to know more about her. And then, of course, the characters started coming into my head. The what if this, what if that, what if. And then the what if became names. There was names to the what if, and then the what if and the names became a story, and then the story came on paper, and then that's it. It's out. It's done now. Love it.
Such a good book. What would you say your goal is? What is the dream that you're chasing for your author career?
Ooh, that's the beauty of a question, isn't it?
It's my favorite.
Didn't prepare me for that one. Yeah. Well, look, at the end of the day, I think everybody's goal in life is the same thing, and that is love and happiness. I think that is the goal for everybody. So, and I want people to love my books, and I want to love my books. I want readers to pick it up and go, yeah, that's good. But I want to be able to say those famous two words, the end, and go, yeah, that's good. So for me, the ultimate would be that I'm just happy and love everything I do.
What has been your most memorable reader interaction moment?
Oh, I think the very first time that I got an email from somebody who said that they related to the book that I wrote so much that they decided to go get mental health help because they were on the edge of ending their own life. And they read it, and it was a book that they normally wouldn't read, but it just, looked like it was interesting to them. And they read it and they decided to get mental health help. And I think that to me that stuck with me. And, it just means, and I don't think it's not me who has saved them, it's the character who has, or maybe not even saved them, but maybe just sent them over that yeah, I need help, as opposed to there's no other way out, to okay, there is, and now I need help. So I just so honoured, and so blessed in order to have that. It's just amazing.
You and I have a new segment. You were actually the one that had suggested this, and I have you're like, I have been doing this for my last couple of interviews, and it's a hoot. Well, for me anyway. You and I are going to go on a author speed date. So it's going to be 5 questions that you will answer. I've got a candlelight for us. It's a romantic date.
Yay! You're welcome.
We're like, yay, my favorite person.
Oh, geez, look at that. My battery's about to die.
Same. My first one is, what is the clumsiest moment you've ever had?
Oh, easy. I tripped going upstairs. Not down.
That's why I want to hear your best one, because I'm like, she will have a good
easy.
I knew this would be a good one. I'm just like, because I know how clumsy you are naturally. So I'm like, what's the best one? What's one I'm there for?
Oh yeah, trip going upstairs, easy. Oh, and you know what? I had nothing in my hands. Wasn't even wearing shoes. I was just and worst bloody thing, there were 2 freaking steps and I fell on them, didn't I? Oh, I could fall over my own feet. Oh my God. And you know what I have learnt to do? Let me tell you what I have learnt to do. Never wear something white to a book signing. Why? I hear you ask me. Come on, ask me. Why, Margaret? Why do you never wear anything white? Go on.
Margaret, why? Why won't you wear anything white?
Oh, it's very easy, because guaranteed, doesn't matter what's in my mouth, always ends up on my shirt. Always.
This is so true. Actually, every signing we've gone to, I should laugh so hard.
I know. I'm like, coffee, and it's all dripping down. Like, oh, fair income. Do not wear white ever. Nah, can't happen. Wear shoes that have no heel, because I will fall over my own feet. Wear nothing that's white, preferably something very dark that a stain can be consumed by. If not, I just put my hair down low and just have my head tilted for the whole thing. Yes, no, I'm terrible. Honestly, I could fall over my own feet. Oh my God. So once, years ago, I was out with friends and I was walking on flat surface with no heels. And I thought, oh, how embarrassing would it be if I fell? And what happened? Margaret falls and face plants. Yes, that's great fun. Anyway,
these stories are so satisfying for me in so many ways. What is the 3 words you would use to describe yourself as?
Describe me as well, awesome, obviously.
I knew that was coming.
I'd say I'm loyal, and I'd say I'm truthful, and other than awesome, we'll go with 4 words.
Self-explanatory.
I would say no, that's it. I'm fiercely loyal. Yeah, I'm fiercely loyal. I stick with people, and I always have people's back. If they're in my tribe.
Yeah.
I always have their back. Always. My kids know. I'll always, You do something stupid, I will always have your back, and you've got to face up to whatever repercussions there is, but I've always got your back. Steal something and you end up in jail, well, I'll come visit, but I've got your back.
I'll bring you bread and butter. Number 3, what song best describes you?
Oh, no idea. I'm not really big into songs. Oh, I know this is terrible. I'm really not. Let's just say, I've had the time of my life. There we go. We'll go with that one. That's the first one that just popped into my head.
Really?
Do you like my theme
Mine
voice?
was, oh, she's a sweet but a psycho. Or she's a maniac. Well, I feel like
yourself.
No, mine's probably more like a Nicki Minaj or Cardi B song. Wait, what's
that one? What's that one about some ass or something? I don't know. I really don't know. Do you know what's really terrible? My kids will say, "Oh, Mum, do you know this song?" And I go, "No." And they go, "Yeah, you do." And I'll play it, and I go, "Oh, yeah, I know it." So I'm not real good with names. Isn't it? It's Kelly, isn't it? Right? Christine.
Was it McKay? What's your life motto?
Oh, I don't have one of them.
I feel like you would, of all people. After how much you preach wise words to me, surely you can pick something out of that.
I think look, I don't have a motto. I just try to be as honest as I possibly can without being hurtful, right? But as honest as I possibly can and as grounded as I possibly can, because regardless of what's happening in my life, everybody else has got a life too. And I just try to be respectful of absolutely everybody. Did you change cups? Do you have 2 cups of tea?
I changed this a while ago. So, okay, wait, ease up. I had a coffee first and then a green tea now. You know I drink a lot of caffeine. What? I stopped drinking.
Freakazoid.
Maybe, but I'm an energized one.
Yeah, that's right. So yes, anyway, my life motto, I suppose, just be respectful and be grounded, be humbled, but be grateful, because we've got this amazing thing called life. We've been given it, and regardless of what our circumstances are, we can make whatever we want. And all that we have to, hello Kingston, you're back. We can make whatever we want for ourselves. We really can. And I know people might go, "Oh yeah, whatever. That's easy for her." You don't know my backstory. You don't know my circumstances. But what I choose to do is I choose to go, you know what? Today's a good day. It is. Today's a good day.
And my last one on our amazing riveting date of you calling me a freak is what is a unique talent or skill set that you have that not many people know about?
I don't have anything. I can write.
You can cook. I know you can cook.
Oh, yeah, I can cook. I like cooking. Cooking's fun.
You're very good at cooking. Love your food.
Huh?
I said you're very good at cooking. Yeah. Love your food.
Yeah, I like my food too. I don't know. I don't really have a unique skill set for anything. I am very good at
picking on Kyle.
Could have at least given me a heads up about that question.
No way.
Jeez, I don't know.
It's not very often I have you speechless. So, and now I have it recorded. So it's even better. Just your face gone.
No, you'll just edit it out later. No. Hopefully the cover of it won't be mega like this.
Will be. This will be like a moment.
Screenshot.
Sometimes, yeah. You tell me like, professional author Margaret. Look, I'm not gonna lie. So I'll let you off the hook on that one. So, I don't know if I would go on a second date with you just because you did slip in that I was a freak, and I feel like we bickered.
All right, I don't want to go on a second date with you either.
Oh, wow. I was going to say, but I feel like there's a passion growing between us. But no passion. Wrong vibes. Okay.
No passion. No connection. So I don't feel nothing.
With you. Yeah.
Don't feel nothing. There's nothing there. Your boobs look good, but that's about it.
Oh, thank you.
I'd maybe go on a date to fill your boobs up. My husband would like that.
I would like that much because, you know, at least you've asked me for once.
No, that's right. That's right.
Oh my goodness. I love that. It's upside down. Wow, I love You've got a photo of me and you holding each other's breasts. Yes.
And then we're doing the duck face. You gave this to me for my birthday a few years back when we were in New York. Do you remember New York? Do you remember you tramping around New York with those stupid freaking heels, 20,000 steps, and you're like, oh, my feet hurt. Why the fuck are you wearing those heels?
Because
they look good.
I was in New York. I could not wear thongs / flip-flops in New York. I refused. But yes, there are photos of me when we had that signing. There are photos. I think Beck took them of me peeling back Band-Aids because I've got scars on the back of my heels from that. It's memories.
Memories is right. Do you remember that? That was so much fun. That was, honestly.
Bagels?
Do you remember the freaking Uber driver who drove straight past us? Do you remember that?
No.
It was you and me. We called an Uber, and I don't know how Uber works because I don't have it. I'm so terrible at these things. You did it on your thingy bobby, your little phone thing, right? So you called the Uber driver, and it's got their number plate, their tags, and we were like, oh, there he is. Oh, where's why is he? Where the hell is he going?
Do you remember our love for that bagel shop?
Oh,
I think about it often. I have a photo in front of that place where I'm like, okay, all right, we're gonna be here forever. Where do we find you? What is up and coming? Where do we find you?
I'm KU, and I don't have a website. I'm so terrible. I know. I need to get me one of those. So find me on KU, find me on Facebook, find me on Insta. I've started that TikTok thing too, but I'm not real tech savvy. I've got to tell you, I'm not. Even just doing this Zoom thing, you know how difficult that was for me? My God. I can open a piece of paper and I can write words, so that's about it. And I can send it to my editor, I can send it to my proofreaders. I don't have a website yet, but I will get one, I think. I've only been around for about 7 or 8 years. You'd think I would have had one by now. What's coming up? So Hope River, the series that I wrote, mentions so it's completely fictional. I made up the name. It mentions the next big city, which is Mulberry Point, and that's again fictional. And in Mulberry Point, there's a fire station with 3 firemen who happen to be brothers, who are mentioned in the Hope River series. And I just dropped my lip balm. Whoops. So they are the next books that are coming up. They have their own little series going on.
I'm so excited. Right, that the thing so Hope's River has now been out for 3 or 4 weeks, and you have the second one, Our Chance, coming out in a week, which is super exciting. And then the third one only comes out, 3 or 4 weeks after
April 9th.
Oh, this April 9th. So watch this space. I can't wait to hear about. I'm very much appreciating you sending through the suggested cover models for the firefighter series. I'm very much
is that before or after you lick the screen?
I mean, both, during, after. I mean, like, I'm not biased.
Yeah, you know, it happens to be a little bit of saliva on there. It's okay.
I have a good computer wiper on my computer.
We'll just clean it off, love, like this. It's all right. Oh yes, I can see now.
Thank you so much, Margaret. I have had an absolute blast with you. Thank you so much for coming on today.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. I very much appreciate it. Thank you. Hang on, my dog. Wait, meet my dog. There he is. Say hi. Oh, hi. Stop licking me. Say hi. That's Kingston. He's very not impressed. He's not impressed. Look at him. He's not impressed. Go look at Kaya. Say hi.
Kingston.
Stop. Oh.
This is the first time I've ever seen him camera shy. Yeah. All right, I'm going to love you and leave you. Have a good day, and I'll talk to you like in 2 minutes. Bye.
Bye. Bye.